Hello, my name is Joanna Guevara, and today I'll be speaking to you about stress in work. Stress is something that we always think about as like something personal that only probably happens at home, but it doesn't. Stress also happens at work. We can all have a challenging job. Stress can be caused by work overload. It can be caused by interruptions, deadlines. I myself have a challenging job and I get stressed at work pretty easy. I'm going to be going over with you what stress is, body responses to stress, fight or flight response, freeze, which is part of the body responses to stress, stress in the workplace, legal obligations of employers in relation to stress at work, stress claims, practical steps to resolve your stress at work. Then we'll end off with our conclusion. So, what is stress? Stress is a state of mental or emotional strain or tension resulting from adverse or very demanding circumstances. There is a noted physiologist named Walter Cannon. He was employed at Harvard Medical School. He is the one who first described the body's reaction to stress. Cannon was the researcher who first identified the stress reaction as the fight or flight response. Okay, the body responses to stress are fight, flight, and freeze. Okay, the first two are fight or flight responses. Fight can get you agitated, aggressive. The flight response is like a survival instinct. When you get stressed, you may feel agitated or aggressive towards others. This is due to our body's natural reaction of fight. It can be a helpful reaction to throw off predators, but in situations that it's not necessary, it can affect relationships and even ruin reputations. In the flight response, the body prepares itself when confronted by a threat to either stand ground or fight or run away. That is the survival instinct in the fight or flight response. So freeze. Freeze is the third response that stress can cause to the body. For some people, becoming stressed sets the stage for dysregulation. The energy mobilized by the perceived threats gets locked into the nervous system and we freeze. This response sometimes reveals itself when we breathe. Holding our breath and shallow breathing are both forms of freeze. The sometimes deep sigh we get is the nervous system catching up on its oxygen intake. For example, if we are, let's say, in an alley and there's a person we don't know, there's really no end, so it's a dead end. So we kind of like freeze. We won't be able to flight. We won't be able to run away. So we just freeze because our body just gets stressed and our nerves kind of trick us, so we won't be able to fight or flight, so we just freeze. So there's the stress reactions, which is a 3-phase process. Phase 1 is alarm reaction. Phase 2 is a stage of resistance. Phase 3 is a stage of exhaustion. Okay, a young endocrinologist studied the fight or flight response in detail. Hans Slagle was able to specify the changes in the body's physiology. His research was first published in his classic book called The Stress of Life. Alarm reaction is the body shows the changes characteristic of the first exposure to a stressor. During the same time, the resistance is diminished, and if the stressor is strong enough, death may result. An example is being at a party but having social anxiety. Stage of resistance that ensues if continued exposure to the stressor is compatible and adaptation. The bodily signs characteristic of the alarm reaction have virtually disappeared, and resistance rises above normal. For example, when others try to involve the socially anxious party guest, he experiences stress. And the stage of exhaustion after being exposed to the same stressor to which the body has become adjusted, eventually adaptation energy is exhausted. The signs of the alarm reaction show up again, but now they are irreversible, and the individual dies or can die. Okay, so now moving on to stress in the workplace. It is not always bad to be stressed at work. A little bit of stress can help you stay focused, energetic, and able to meet new challenges at work. Stress in the workplace can also seem like an emotional roller coaster. Long hours, tight deadlines, and increasing demands, these can leave you feeling worried, drained, and overwhelmed. Some stress at work is normal, but if you have too much stress at work, it can come between productivity and performance. It can hurt your health physically or emotionally. It can also affect your relationships in the workplace or at home. Legal obligations of employers in relation to stress at work. There is no specific law aimed at workplace stress, but employers do have duties under the Health and Safety at Work Act to ensure the health, safety, and welfare of their staff. Employers have duties under common law to take reasonable steps to ensure your health and safety at work. So there are stress claims that can be done at work, and examples of these are constructive dismissal. Under that would fall breach and grievance. I'll talk to you a little bit more about what those mean. There is unfair dismissal and disability discrimination. Those are the types of claims that you can do at your job when you fall in stress at work. So a constructive dismissal is based on a resignation you must show that the employer is in breach. A breach of an employment contract can occur whenever either party fails to perform their duties under the contract terms or the terms of the contract. The breach must be serious for you to resign, and you normally be expected to lodge a grievance first. So a grievance at work is a worker concerns, problems, or complaints that employees raise with their employer. An unfair dismissal, it is a dismissal that you have to claim if the employer dismisses you first before you enter a grievance. The other claim is a disability discrimination claim. It's a claim that you can make when the employer fails to make reasonable adjustments in the workplace aimed at alleviating your stress. Now we're going to review practical steps to resolve your stress at work. Okay, so possible flexible working hour arrangements, clarification of exact roles and responsibilities, training or support due to work overload, channels of communication, reporting structure, regular meetings, guidance over grievance process, mutual termination of employment. Look to see if it is possible to request flexible working arrangements to help your stress at work. Look for clarification of exact roles and responsibilities you have at work. This may not be documented, so look and ask your employer for this. Ask employer if it is possible to have training or support due to your work overload. Look for new channels of communication. The reporting structures can be set up. Work meetings will help in this situation. Seek advice on the grievance process. Many line managers will try to resolve matters before a formal guidance. If you may come to a mutual agreement with the employer about the termination of your job and come to a good financial terms, it would be better to find professional advice first. Well, we come to a conclusion, and it's not easy to free yourself from stress. Like I said before, it is fine to have some stress because it will help you keep on your feet during the day. Not too much stress, though, because it can make you ill as well. Stress can lead you to poor health. Remember, act rather than react. You are typically in control of your action and responses. Take a deep breath. If you're becoming overwhelmed and need to clear your head, deep breathe for a few minutes. It will help you restore your balance. Eliminate interruptions. You cannot control the interruptions, but you can control your responses, such as you accept the interruption, you cut it off, or you diagnose what's important and make a plan. Schedule your day for energy and focus. Schedule breaks throughout your day, such as breaks to go walk or stretch, or just simply doing a breathing exercise. Eat right and sleep well. Eating badly will stress your system. Eating a maintained diet with low carbs, no sugars, and high proteins will help. Cool down quickly. When you feel frustrated or angry, it is a heated feeling in your body that can cause you to react. Instead of immediately reacting and likely overreacting, try taking cool breaths in through your mouth and out your nose. This will give you a cooling sensation over the top of your tongue and will help you. Identify self-imposed stress. Learn to build your own self-confidence rather than seeking others' approval. Prioritize your priorities. Know what is more important and why. Reset the panic button. This tells us that if you become panicky and short of breath, you can quickly reduce your anxiety with the right acupuncture point. Positioning your thumb on the side of your middle finger and applying pressure instantly helps regulate your pressure. So just remember these tips and they will help you manage your stress, because stress management is really important even in the workplace. To look more deeply into what we went over today, here's a set of references where you can go and read deeply more into what we discussed the day of today.